Now, starting a project in Procreate may seem really simple, and it definitely can be, but really a solid foundation can save you hours and hours of trouble and frustration. Ultimately, this will all help your artwork shine as well, so it's a really good place to start. Today, we're going to go through 4 steps: setting up your canvas, organizing layers, choosing brushes, and planning your artwork. Let's start with step 1, canvas setup. First of all, we need Procreate open, and then we want to create a new canvas. For this, we're going to head up to the top right of the screen. There's a little plus icon there. Let's tap on that. You will see some presets here, but if you are or want to create something custom, we can tap the little rectangle there with the plus icon in it, and this will allow us to enter our own dimensions, change the color profile, the time-lapse settings, all these great features. Let's have a look in here for the moment. I think it's always best to work in a canvas that's a little bit bigger than the one you have in mind. A lot of my art gets printed A3 size or A4, so I always work in an A3 size canvas. If we have a look at our width and our height here, we're going to put them in right now, but we're going to have a look down here, these 4 boxes, and we're going to change this one here to millimeters. Now, the top one, the width, 297, and the height, 420. Now, this is just what I like to do. You can obviously do whatever you like and create whatever size canvases you like, but this is going to be really advantageous because we're not creating a canvas that's too big. If we go too big, we will lose a lot of options when it comes to the maximum layers there. Now, we're going to keep it in 300 DPI dots per inch. If we ever want to go and print this artwork, we want the industry standard, which is 300 DPI. So we're going to leave that where it is, and we can see with these dimensions that we've created, we have 56 maximum layers there available. That should be plenty for what you need to do. Along the way, when you are working in a canvas, a lot of the times you will group or combine layers into one. I've never really found myself going over 56, and this is a really good place to be. Pro tip: if you're unsure about size, always go bigger because you can always scale it down and you won't lose any quality in your artwork. If you are scaling up, a lot of the times you will pixelate your work and it won't look very good if it is getting printed or used for any sort of professional uses. Step 2, organize your layers. Once your canvas is ready, layers are going to be your absolute best friend. Start by creating a sketch layer, a base color layer, and separate layers for details. We can add more layers by dropping down the layers panel on the top right here and tapping on the plus icon. That will create us a new layer. Now, if you're like me, you like to piece out your sketch. I did start with the Daruma doll here in the middle. I added things like the rope on, and you can see all the little iterations I've had of things along the way. There's my really early base idea for the rope. And then I came through, finalized that a bit more, but you see the point here. I've got all these organized into their own group here, and I've even named that group, so I know where to go back for really quick reference. The more you work on different layers, name those layers, it's going to be better for you in the end. Because I've been using Procreate such a long time, I can pretty easily see what's going on in all of my layers here, but you can see how crazy it would be if I didn't know what all of these things did, especially if I was just starting out in Procreate. Pro tip, make sure you duplicate important layers. This way we can have them as backups. I'll show you what I mean. If I wanted to make an adjustment to this layer up here, I'm going to go ahead, swipe from right to left, and we're going to duplicate that. Now I can turn off the other layer and just work on the newly duplicated layer. This way I can make finite changes or maybe even really change things up on that layer without worrying about ruining the overall aesthetic, because if I don't like it, I can always delete it. Step 3, choose your brushes. Now, let's talk brushes. Procreate comes with an amazing default set, but finding the right brush for you and particularly your style can be tricky sometimes and can really make a big difference in the end. For me, I like to keep things really simple, and I create most of my pieces with realistically 4 brushes, which came with Procreate. If we have a look down into Rocket's brushes here, the soft brush, which is an airbrush, the soft pastel, the 6B pencil, and the Studio pen. These are so versatile and they can really do such amazing things if you learn how to use them properly. This piece here was created with those 4 brushes and nothing else. For me, these brushes feel natural, like the 6B pencil, but I also get tons of sharpness out of the Studio pen. I can come through and get really nice soft shading with the soft brush, the airbrush, or I can really create some nice texture in there with the soft pastel. If you want to explore past the built-in brushes, there are tons of paid options out there. I have so many myself. There's so many great options from great artists. Some of my favorites are these Sam's brushes packs here. They've got great textures and oil brushes in there as well. But even things like these neon packs here, which give you a really nice glow when you do use these brushes. Pro tip, Don't be afraid to tweak the settings. If we find a brush that we like, we can tap on that and we can go into the brush studio. We can play with opacity, size, and flow on the left here to really tailor the brush to our needs and the way we work, or some of the styles we want to create in our digital art. Step 4, sketch and plan. Now it's time for one of the best parts, starting to sketch. We want to start really loose and free. This is all about getting your ideas out. If we have a look on the screen, these ropes, when they started, really rough, really basic, really loose, just getting the idea of the way I wanted them to flow throughout the piece and interact with the Daruma doll in the middle here. Remember, this phase does not have to be perfect. We don't want it to be perfect. We want to get the layout, the vibe, the aesthetic right for what we want to create or what we want to get out of our heads. Think of this as brainstorming for your art. Keep your hand moving and let your creativity flow. From here, we can jump in and we can have a look at some of the other layers that I did where I really started to refine that rope over the top. I came through a bit more deliberate movements, harder brush strokes, and ended up with something which really fit the piece well, but it definitely did not adhere to all the little markings that I had down originally for that rope. There were a lot of changes, but the initial idea was very loose and free. Pro tip, make sketching your favorite part of creating new art in Procreate. It is one of the things that can really allow you to explore, grow as an artist, but create some really fun and aesthetically pleasing pieces because you're willing to work with what you've got on the screen and add new elements in here and there. Your canvas is set, your layers are organized, your brushes are ready, and your ideas are starting to take shape. You're officially ready to dive into your next masterpiece. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe for more tips coming soon. And drop me a comment down below and tell me what you're working on currently. I'd love to see or hear about your current projects. That's it for today's video. So until the next one, get out there and let's get creative.